Meagan and Larry Johnson with us, and I've been waiting all program long to talk about the generation gap, and now we're going to get a chance. Of course, excuse me just a moment, Tanya. This is the book right here, Generations, Inc. Welcome to the program. There's so much to talk about and so little time.
Collaborating on this, I imagine you had some debates.
Oh, well, I had a really good time. I don't know about my dad. That might have been different, but I had a great time.
Was there one initial thing? What inspired it? Was there a pivotal point? Did you come to conflict on something?
I think it started back when I graduated from college from Arizona State, and I got a job with a big oatmeal company, and I started complaining about my job. And my dad, I think, was just ready to strangle me because he felt I should be grateful for this job.
Good father.
That's right.
And I thought they should be grateful that I was there.
But let's get depression babies. This is the kind of baby that I'd like to be. Explain the traits of the depression baby, born before 1945.
The traditional, we call them the traditional generation.
Traditional generation.
Hardworking, believes in a cause or in the group, and is steady and will show up every day, even those who are still in the workforce. I mean, how likely is it that a traditional person who's in their 70s is going to be out at a kegger last night and not going to show up for work?
And you're in that group, sir, correct?
No,
no,
not yet.
Little baby boomer.
Oh, okay, baby boomer.
Yeah, baby boomer.
So a traditional, see, I just cut off. On the traditional, I just cut off. If you're born in 1945,
you're a cusper.
You're a cusper.
So she got both of those traits?
It's interesting. Cuspers show a little bit more flexibility compared to someone like myself. I'm right in the middle of Generation X. Cuspers show a little bit more flexibility in being able to relate to both generations. Our studies have shown.
I can see that.
And the key point we seem to keep coming across was language. Someone that's on the cusp like yourself, you seem to be able to grasp the language of the generation before you and the generation that follows you. And it seems that people from both generations sort of use you as the go-between.
The sounding board.
Yes.
And you know, I think that's true of Tanya. Now, I don't want to be a baby boomer because he explained the baby boomers.
You don't want to be a baby boomer.
I am, but I don't want to be. Because explain that. Explain the baby boomers from 1946 to 1964.
Oh, baby boomers, you won't go away. That's the problem. We keep trying to get you out, and you're just hanging out here.
Meagan, please. But we have. What is our influence?
We are the biggest generation. I guess the Generation Y coming up now is similar in size, but we're the biggest generation ever. We have the biggest buying power. We're all retiring, so we're going to be buying all the stuff that goes along with that.
But you're not retiring soon enough. You are just staying. You're not going anywhere.
Well,
you're stuck.
Actually, we are postponing retirement according to all the research because of the economy and because we're living longer and healthier, and a lot of us want to keep working.
You know, if she thinks that about you, what do you think about me? We probably should never have any dialogue.
Is that part of your generation that you just want to bump people off?
Come on, give the rest of us a chance.
Following the baby boomers, Generation X.
Generation X.
That is you.
That's my generation.
Are you right in the middle? You said
I'm right in the middle. I'm born in 1970, just turned 40 this year.
Okay.
So yes, I'm right there in the middle.
So what can we say about Generation X?
Oh, Generation X, we like to say it means X marks the spot. Actually, in reality, the X means nothing. It stands for absolutely nothing. We're the smallest generation. We only represent 13% of the entire population.
Really?
But what happened was...
We weren't as prolific around that time.
No, you weren't.
We
had learned.
Yes, yes.
That's true.
We had discovered the pill. We had discovered open lifestyle. We had and we
had independent children.
Yes.
Discovered careers. And so they postponed having children. So very few were born during that 70s, late 60s, 70s period, except for like Meagan, who was an accident.
And Generation Y comes after, this sounds like chromosomes.
Yes, doesn't it? Generation Y comes after Generation X. And what's interesting is we have Generation X and Generation Y right next to each other, but we have the same parents. Baby boomers.
Oh, yeah.
Because baby boomers have discovered the fountain of youth in the form of prescription medication and just started having more children after 1980.
You really want to, you know, I think that's true of Tanya. Now, I don't want to be a baby boomer because explain the baby boomers.
You don't want to be a baby boomer.
I am, but I don't want to be. Because explain that. Explain the baby boomers from 1946 to 1964.
Oh, baby boomers, you won't go away. That's the problem. We keep trying to get you out, and you're
Meagan,
hanging out here.
Meagan, please. But we have, what is our influence?
We are the biggest generation. I guess the Generation Y coming up now is similar in size, but we're the biggest generation ever. We have the biggest buying power. We're all retiring, so we're going to be buying all the stuff that goes along with that.
But you're not retiring soon enough. You are just staying. You're not going anywhere.
Well,
you're stuck.
Actually, we are postponing retirement according to all the research because of the economy and because we're living longer and healthier, and a lot of us want to keep
you know,
working.
if she thinks that about you, what do you think about me? We probably should never have any dialogue.
Is that part of your generation that you just want to bump people off?
Come on, give the rest of us a chance.
Following the baby boomers, Generation X. And
Generation X, yes.
That is you.
That's my generation.
Are you right in the middle? You said
I'm right in the middle. I'm born in 1970, just turned 40 this year.
Okay.
So yes, I'm right there in the middle.
So what can we say about Generation X?
Oh, Generation X, we like to say it means X marks the spot. Actually, in reality, the X means nothing. It stands for absolutely nothing. We're the smallest generation. We only represent 13% of the entire population.
Really?
But what happened was...
We weren't as prolific around that time.
No, you weren't.
We had discovered
We
the
had
pill.
learned.
Yes, yes.
That's true.
We had discovered the pill. We had discovered open lifestyle. We had
And we
women
had independent
discovered,
children.
Yes.
Discovered careers. And so they postponed having children.
Yeah.
So very few were born during that 70s, late 60s, 70s period, except for like Meagan, who was an accident.
And Generation Y comes after. This sounds like chromosomes.
Yes, doesn't it? Yeah. Generation Y comes after Generation X. And what's interesting is we have Generation X and Generation Y right next to each other, but we have the same parents. Baby boomers.
Oh, yeah.
Because baby boomers have discovered the fountain of youth in the form of prescription medication and just started having more children after 1980.
You really want to get rid of us, don't you, Meagan? But there's some great traits. I was looking at Generation X. I mean, you're highly independent workers, prefer to fly solo, responsible, family focused. I mean, you've got a lot of very good traits.
And the Y has what?
And the Y is I hate to even say these words after hearing you talk about technology, the Generation Y, they're very technology savvy.
You know what? It has been titled correctly. Why are we doing it?
Well, I think it's important to remember the why is every generation, there's something important to every generation.
Yes.
And we have to remember why it's important to each generation.
Stay right there. We're coming back. When we come back, Generations Inc., the Generation Gap. From boomers to linksters, and we are now up to talking about the linksters. I know this is the group I'm really going to have issue with now. Born after 1995, and yes, most of them are still living at home, aren't they? Most of the ones maybe born in the Y generation are living at home. Talk about linksters, and I know why they're called that.
I will text you an answer, okay?
You don't want to talk to us,
like
right?
Arnold. Arnold sits right next to me in our office, and I'll say something, and he'll say, "Tanya, email," and I'll say, "No, Arnold, I can touch you. I am not sending you an email."
I'm not going to text you or email you.
We're not. Are they afraid to talk eyeball to eyeball? Is that the deal? Is it fearful? Is it?
Well,
what
I
is
think
it?
as we were talking during the break, it's become a substitute for face-to-face communication. And family members and employers, their struggle with the linkster generation is that you're going to have to just practice that eye-to-eye contact, because when it comes down to those entry-level jobs, these are the people that are having the most interaction with your customers.
Well, and they're also just playing around on the computer all day. I mean, everybody's office, if you go around the office and you were a mouse on the wall, say, or on the wall, or fly on the wall, you would see people just fooling around on the computer, not really doing any work at all.
Well, now, I'm going to argue with you a little
Go
bit
ahead.
on that one. is because I think that younger generations work differently. Just like my generation, Generation X, works differently than the baby boomer generation. And when I first started working, my father was appalled that when my boss would call, I'd let it go to the answering machine. It was Sunday. It was Sunday afternoon. I didn't want to talk to my boss. My dad's like, "Wow, how can you not talk to your boss?" It's Sunday afternoon. He can wait till Monday.
I hear you there. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So I think we have the same reaction to this younger generation, and in our interviews and our research for the book, it really is a work style difference. Every generation you can find someone lazy and that doesn't do their job. And we're not making excuses for that person.
True.
That's the person you get rid of. But the younger people just work differently. And especially the linkster generation, using technology, they don't think about it. Just like we don't think about breathing. I have to still think about using technology.
It's second nature to them.
Yes.
It's just totally second. They were born with, obviously, that knowing
You
about
explained that very well.
Yeah.
I think that's a true, probably a true statement.
But you know, I do find it unacceptable in a workplace, and Jesse's guilty of this. I do find it unacceptable in a workplace for someone on the job to be checking their emails, checking their texting, pulling out their phone, and to me that's unacceptable.
It is unacceptable. And I was in a
Put your phone away, Jesse.
I was in the doctor's office, and the nurse's assistant was checking her email. I thought, we're dealing with my health.
Oh no, that's
I don't
not
want you
good.
checking
But
your
don't you
That's
really,
not
in
good.
your heart of hearts, believe that there's less?
See, I told you.
You got an important message.
There's less productivity because again, I wander around offices, and it's not just the younger generation I'm talking about. I'm going to Tanya's
sometimes,
technology. They're in there playing Scrabble. They're in there playing solitaire.
Or sending something
And
funny
they're
to
not-
someone
and
else.
they're
That is really a management issue.
Yes.
You're structuring the work so that they're just paid to be there, and and they can get their work done and still play on the web. Why not? If you structure the work so that you've got to keep working to get what you've been assigned done,
That's a
and you're
good
held
point.
accountable for it. Then
So
you
what
don't have
about
time
having
to play on
3-hour
the web.
work days then?
Larry, that's a very good
Why not?
point. That is a very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's how exactly, because
It's how it's managed.
As long as
It's
they're getting a
management,
job
isn't
done,
it?
what does it matter?
But again, going from generation to generation, we would have people will just pick up the phone and call their neighbors, call their friends. It's just like it's a known thing that I'm going to go to work, and as soon as I get to work, I'm going to call the mother-in-law, or I'm going to call mom. I mean, that's not how we grew up. I couldn't get on the phone and just make a phone call.
And you know, I think some of this is, and I know you want to speak to this, and I want you to. Some of it is miscommunication. Some of it is the way we communicate, and not necessarily just that we don't eye to eye, but it's miscommunication in understanding what each of us mean.
Exactly.
Each generation means, don't you think?
Yep, definitely. In the book, we talk about how each generation is defined by generational signposts. And a generational signpost is an event or phenomena that is specific to one generation. And not only does it color the way you see the world, it bonds you to other people within your generation because it means something to you.
Yes.
Man walking on the moon. That means a lot to baby boomers. Man walked on the moon, heck, I wasn't even alive then. A man walking to Walmart, now that's impressive. So
Yeah, you're right.
And so it means something. 9/11. 9/11 is a generational signpost for all of us. We have an emotional tie.
So in the book, how do we put all of this together and get along? Because I remember, and we all remember, our age remembers, the big generation gap. We used to talk about it all the time. And how do we come together?
It's there. It's going to always be
It's always
there.
going to be there.
But how can we do anything to come together and be a better understanding to each other?
Well, one step is recognizing what, as we're talking about young people using technology, and I think we find it offensive that they're using technology. If you don't want them texting while you're talking to them, say, hey, do not want you texting while you're talking to me.
I think I do that.
Yeah, but we get our feathers ruffled because we feel that they're being rude. Or I have people saying they send me an email with no punctuation and little grammar.
Call their attention to it.
They don't care about their job. Call their attention to it.
Very good point.
But on the other hand, we need to look at letting some rules go.
There needs to be a melding, doesn't there? A melding, and we just need to. We're hard. We're hardcore. We don't want to give up. Would you agree with that, Meagan?
You baby boomers are hardcore. You won't give up. You won't go away. You're like the
I'm so
Energizer Bunny.
We're pretty stubborn.
I'm so glad I'm a mediator between those two.
And the irony is that we were the ones who shook things up when we were
That's
that age.
true.
No.
Very true.
Life magazine, 1968, has
always.
the cover of the generation gap in 1968. So the generation gap is nothing new.
No.
It's just the way that we respond to this change.
We all don't want to change.
Of course
But
not.
I think one thing we are losing, and we talked about this earlier in the show, and you probably heard us, I think one thing that it is causing us to lose is respect, manners, and graciousness.
Yes.
That needs to come back.
Yes, we have a more casual attitude.
In every generation.
I agree with
Thank you.
What a
Great
pleasure to
interview.
meet you.
Thank you so much.
very,
Thanks
very
for
much.
inviting
Where
us.
can we? The book is available everywhere.
The book is available everywhere, bookstores and
At johnsontraininggroup.com.
Excellent. When we come
places.
back, final thoughts and moments.